Vijana hoye. Comrades power. Comrades power. Hey, leo ni leo jameni. Hey. Hey. Ni tutam. Ni tutam. Tutam.
Wacha nione salamu ya tutam. Leo kumekujwa. Fire si fire. Fire si fire. Noma si noma. Wacha nione wale wanasema wacha nichukue nafasi hii. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you. I know many of you are students in our universities and our TVETs. The rest of you are young people who have recently graduated. I am very happy today to host you, and I have very fond memories about the 12 years of my life I spent as a university professor, mentoring, supporting, nurturing young people. And today it's a big recollection to meet comrades, students, young graduates who come from this county, not only to reconnect, but also to say a few things about the agenda that we need to all get engaged in to make sure that we make our country better, we strengthen the economy of Kenya, we expand the business and job opportunities so that the youth of Kenya can find a better country than the one we found. Comrades power. Comrades power. Noma si noma. Fire si fire. So today I am here to welcome you, and because you are students mainly who come from this county, I want you to know that you are at home. This is your home. And you are welcome. You are welcome whether I'm in or not, so long as you tell us. We can even allow you to come here and have your own meeting and just celebrate and live. Kwa sababu hapa ni kwenu nyumbani jameni. Si ni kweli? Si nyinyi mko na bahati deputy president ni jirani yenu. You must take advantage. You must take advantage that one of your neighbors is the deputy president. So this place is available. Even when I'm not here, you can come and do meetings here and leave. You just come, you eat, you talk, you celebrate, and then you leave at your pleasure. Ni tutam. Comrades muko kwa tutam. Ni tutam. Ya ukweli. Sio kudanganya. Ni tutam. Wacha nione wale wanasema ni tutam. Allow me to just say a few things so that 2 or 3 of Meshiba. Asante sana. Mambo bado. Ama namna gani jameni? Mambo bado. Si tumesema mko nyumbani? Kwa hivyo mambo bado. Allow me to say 2 or 3 things so that 1 or 2 of you can also say something. We don't want to take a lot of time so that we make maximum use of today. The first thing I want to say is the hope of the nation, the hope of Kenya, the hope of any country is in the strength, focus, energy, and talent of its youth. The hope of any community is in the focus, talent, the gifts, energy, and innovation of its young people. And I say this because we are living in a very interesting time in our country, and we are having conversations about how different generations should relate to each other. The young people, the older people. And that is a very healthy conversation because we must look at each other in the eye and make certain
commitments to one another. Because we, the older people, need to commit ourselves to our young people. But the young people also need to commit themselves. And I am going to demonstrate to you in a very short time how that relationship is supposed to be in an ideal situation. Number one, young people are strong. They are stronger than the older people, even physically. Younger people are more educated and more exposed than the older people, isn't it? Younger people, because you have better exposure to technology and to modern science more than us, I expect that your generation should be more knowledgeable, more exposed, and more innovative than my generation. The same way, my generation did better than the generation of my parents. So, good people, I want to put it to you that we hold you in high esteem. We, the older people, we, the older generation in this country, hold you in high esteem as young people. You are the pride of our nation and the pride of our community. You have longer time, God willing. You will live longer than those of us who are older. That is how God has ordered things. So between ourselves and you, the hope of the community and the hope of the country is more on you, because you have a longer period, you have better ideas, better exposed, and we expect you to perform better than our generation has performed. That is where we place you. And that is not a small responsibility on your part. That place we have put you with a lot of hope. And when I speak about me, is me and the parents, the people now who are parents of young people, parents of youth. That place we have put you, the hope we have put in you, carries heavy responsibility on your part. You cannot afford to play with that trust and that responsibility. But before I come to the responsibility that you owe the community, that you owe your parents, that you owe your children and those who will come after you, before I go there, let me tell you what we owe you as the older generation. Our responsibility to you. We have our responsibility first, whenever it is possible, to support you to succeed. We have a responsibility as the older generation to support you so that you can have a good education, and when you finish your education, you can have an opportunity to earn a living and be a productive member of the society. You cannot do that to yourself. It is the older people who are in charge of various decision-making and policy-making positions now to make sure that we make the right policies, we make the right decisions that help you have a good education. And when you finish your education journey, you can have an income or employment generating opportunity. We owe you a better country. We owe you the responsibility of managing the resources available in our country so that our country's economy continue expanding, so that we don't shrink the economy and leave behind an economy that cannot support jobs and income opportunities for young people. And therefore, when you are speaking to us, when young people are making suggestions of how they would want us, especially those in positions of responsibility, to behave, when you talk to us to make sure that the resources of the country are managed sustainably so that we can pass a better country to you, we hear you We understand you, and you are absolutely right. You are squarely right. You need to continue demanding a better country, better governance. You need to continue insisting on the need of public officials not to use their offices to steal resources that could be used or that are supposed to be used for purposes of delivery of public services, including education, health, roads, and the other things that we need to grow our economy. Comrades, power. Comrades, power. So when young people insist on a better country, I want to say on behalf of government, we hear you and we understand. And we not only understand you, we agree with you that we need to make our country better. We need to be firm and be seen to fight corruption and to take action whenever there are acts of corruption, and make sure that we set a good example, not only for you, but also for the generations to come. So we have a responsibility to you. And I want to assure you, those of us who have been fortunate to find a good country called Kenya, which you cannot compare with many, many, many countries, especially in this part of the world, peaceful country, with a good educated population, with a fairly working economy, a fairly stable democracy where elections are held every 5 years and there is a peaceful transfer of power. Not many countries in this part of the world have that kind of experience. So those of us who have found such a country, we cannot claim we are the ones who have created the kind of country we have today. That is the work of the generation before us. So our duty is to preserve what we found and even make it better so that we leave a better country for you. Ni kweli si kweli jameni? Ni kweli si kweli? So every day when we wake up, we are asking ourselves, what is it that we can do today to make Kenya better? How do we abstain from taking part in things that could destroy Kenya's stability, progress, and economic well-being? And therefore, that is our responsibility to you. But you also have a responsibility. Your responsibility, good people, great sons and daughters of Kenya, is to make sure that the hope that the older generation have put on you as a younger person, more energetic, more educated, more exposed, more innovative, you use that trust and privilege well and conduct yourself like someone who is focused and someone who is conscious that the future of the nation and of the community depends on you. I therefore urge you to abstain from practices that could injure your education journey. I urge you to try and restrain yourself from making it impossible for you to be the kind of productive member of society we want you to become now and in the future. One of the challenges we are having today in colleges, universities, even secondary schools, is the issue of drugs, especially psychotropic substances, drugs, and the abuse of alcohol. I plead with you, young people, even as we make merry and indulge, please know we need you in good health, strong enough to serve the country, so that as we struggle to create more opportunities, there will be people to take up those opportunities. Comrades, power. Comrades, power. I urge you to focus on your studies. It's those of you who are still in college, it's just a short period of time. Very soon you'll be out of school, out of college. So just persevere, just be disciplined and focused. In a little while, you will have a little more freedom to do some of the things that you have postponed. And therefore, That is your responsibility to us. The second and last responsibility you have to the country and to the community is the responsibility to protect the community and the country. And I dare say you have a greater stake in a stable Kenya than the older people have. You are the people with a greater interest and greater stake in a peaceful, stable, prosperous, economically inclusive Kenya than older people. This is the reason. I have said, naturally, the way God has ordered things, the younger person lives longer than the older person. Isn't it? So you have a longer time on earth than some of the people who want to destroy Kenya. And they are already 70 years old. Right? They are already 70 years old. There are very few years left. And then you destroy Kenya and you cause civil war and leave a country, like some of our neighboring countries where there is civil war, the entire state has collapsed, there is no law and order, and young people, instead of being in colleges and schools, are busy fighting in the bush and killing each other. And therefore, I want you to know that you young people, you must insist on how we run the country, the parameters and principles upon which we run the country. You must be more focused and more serious than the older people. Because as we have a shorter time on earth. The other thing is this. Some of the people who want to destabilize Kenya have the means, if the country broke into pieces, to run away and have life elsewhere. Isn't it? They have a way of evacuating their children and families and leaving millions of Kenyans who cannot have that privilege. So because they have already had work, they have already had businesses, they have already made money, which young people are yet to make because they are still in college and they have also, others have just finished college. You must insist, therefore, I urge you, I plead with you, you must insist that yes, we must question government. We must ask questions. We must demand accountability. We must demand that corrupt people action be taken. We must ask for law and order in a manner that does not injure the rights and liberties of people who are unarmed and people who are not violent. But as we do those things, as we ask questions, as we demand for answers, as we protest, as we demonstrate, as we picket, as we use all avenues to ask questions, especially to those in power and those in authority, we must not use that chance to burn down the country. Because if you burn the country, then there will be no country even to take care of everybody, including yourself. I say this with a lot of emotion because I have seen the last few weeks a few incidents, maybe not here in Tharaka Nithi, but in many parts of Kenya, including neighboring counties here in Meru, in Embu. And I have seen an otherwise important conversation about people asking questions about governance and the fight against corruption has been misused to destroy peace and stability, to loot property of passengers who are just innocent and they have nothing to do with government. They are just on transit from one point to another. And the people doing those muggings and robberies, they are saying it is because they don't like the government. But the person you're stealing from is not the president, is not the deputy president, is not a cabinet minister, is not a member of parliament. What is the connection between this innocent traveler and the things you want government to do? I have seen, with a lot of concern, destruction of investments and property. I know people, even in this region, who are self-made business people. They have little education, but they have worked so hard. They have invested, they have some businesses. But they are older people. They are almost now going to exit the stage. All of a sudden, in old age, after working so hard, after employing 50, 40, 30 young people in their businesses, if it's a supermarket or a mall, somebody comes with petrol, torches down the entire 4 floors, 5 floors of a building, of a businessman who is not the president, deputy president, is not an MP, is not a governor, is not part of the government. So young people must insist on the rules of engagement. That if we have questions, we will ask questions peacefully. And if you don't like a politician, the Constitution has modalities of dealing, of how citizens can deal with politicians who have not lived up to the expectations of the public. Isn't it? Yes. The election will come. Yes. Is it very far away? No. Yes, you just wait. If you don't like your MP, if you don't like your MCA, if you don't like the other person, you just vote and bring in the person you want. Comrades, power. Comrades, power. We do not want an excuse that because you disagree with someone in office, with someone in government, you take charge and you take advantage and use that to harass innocent business people, investors, people who have even employed some of the young people, because government cannot employ everyone. Isn't it? No country in the world is able to employ all the young people in the public service. Many of the job opportunities are created in the private sector. Through good policies by government, you enable the private sector to thrive, so that if a business was employing 2 people, certain policies of government enable it to employ 5 people or 10 people going forward. Isn't it? Many, 90% of jobs are in the private sector and in business. Because not everybody wants to be employed. So long as there is the right environment for businesses, including small businesses, medium-sized businesses to grow, then the economy will prosper, there will be jobs and income opportunities for as many people, especially young people, as possible. So good people, the youth of Kenya, I'm just requesting you respectively to consider that you have a greater stake in this country than the older generation. And therefore, you must insist on 2 things. 1, those you have entrusted with responsibility must be accountable to you. Make no mistake. We are not saying we excuse mediocrity, corruption, and bad behavior in leadership. We should not excuse it. But this we must do using peaceful and constitutional means. We cannot destroy our own economy, our own businesses, our own investments, and make the country look like a war zone and expect that Kenya will join the League of the Developed Nations anytime soon. So I want to leave that matter there, but I really hope I have persuaded you that you must ask questions, all questions, and nobody should be exempted from being questioned, depending on their responsibilities, including the speaker here today. I am not exempted. I should be asked questions. As Deputy President of Kenya, what are you doing? What is the President doing? Isn't it? The other person also, okay? But we must not, again, condone those of us, because of their own failures, they now want to manipulate a situation, and some of them are part of the problem that has caused the situation. They want to manipulate it, and suddenly they have become the champions of a better Kenya, the champions of good governance, and when they were in office, they didn't have any indication whatsoever that they respect good governance. Is that not true? Is that not true? So we must be very candid with each other I see some people today pretending that now they are the best reformists. And they are certainly very clever people with very many ideas. But when they are in office, they were perpetuating dangerous, divisive, and useless ideologies that cannot help anybody. Isn't it? Yeah. And I want to face these characters. I want a face-off. I want us to go on TV and media and debate. And everybody must account for their time. Yeah. I want to debate some of these characters. They are basically there poisoning people and talking about, you know, very primitive ways of solving national problems. Na sisi hatujaingia public service ati sijui kutafuta nini. We are here because we believe in Kenya. We have a history. We can account for everything else we've done in the past. We can explain ourselves what we did to create a better Kenya. And the other person must also say what they have been doing. They cannot say, no. I am going to be clever now, from now henceforth. And they are saying that after they have left office. My friend, watu wanapiga kelele hapa, wacha kampeni ianze. Siko tu hapa 2027. Watajua hawajui, my friend. Some of the crooks making noise here, tutawatuma nyumbani one way. Na debate ikitanwa wasipotee. Wakuja hapa tumenyane na hao. Comrades power. Yes, you cannot mislead people using shortcuts and cheap things and tricks, and some of these people are just crooks, nothing but just little crooks everywhere. So mimi nataka niwaambie hivi wenzangu, the second and last issue, that we as government understand the challenges our country is facing. I, as Deputy President of Kenya, I do appreciate deeply that Kenya, our country, is a country that has a lot of potential, but we still also have very, very serious difficulties, challenges. However, because we have a good population, we have a fairly good and educated population, innovative people, and a fairly good economy compared to other economies, especially in the neighboring region, Kenya has a good future. I believe Kenya has a good future. Kenya has a good future. And there are many people today who want to lead Kenya, but they don't believe Kenya has a good future. How do you want to lead a country which you believe has no future and is doomed? It's a contradiction, isn't it? We must believe in our country, good people. And make no mistake, believing in your country doesn't mean you must support the people in office, in leadership. Those are two different things. People in office, members of the county assembly, MPs, presidents, governors, everybody, those are functionaries, those are officials of state. They come and go. They come and go. But the country is perpetual, is permanent. So you must believe in the country, even if you have issues with the people who might be in leadership in one corner or the other corner, because it's temporary. There are ways in which we deal with people who don't perform. When that time comes, the citizens exercise their responsibility. And there is no big issue around that. Those who win, they become our leaders. Those who lose, they wait. They will become leaders another time. Isn't it? It's as simple as that. But you cannot use the challenges the country is facing to bring violence, to destroy people's investments. As we are looking for more jobs for young people, the businesses that are giving jobs, they are being burnt by the same young people that are jobless. What a contradiction. Si watu ni washenzi. Si wako na ushenzi. So don't allow educated people like you, let the leader persuade you. If a leader doesn't have good policies on roads, on making Kenya have universal electricity connection, good or a better health system, good or better education system, if someone doesn't have good ideas or better ideas than the other one, huyo mtu asikuja kupotezea wakati hapa na mambo ya ujinga, na mambo ya bure hapa na kukuzubaisha. You are an educated person. Yeah, na mimi I'm waiting for those characters. I am waiting for them. I am waiting for them. Wacha kampeni anze. Mimi nawangojea. Na wengine wanaongea tu mambo ya bure hapo na maringo mingi, unaongea na kiburi na hakuna kitu anajua. Ajui chochote. Ukimuuliza how do you transform the economy from lower middle income country where Kenya is now to upper middle income country in the next 20 years, anasema ngojeeni kwanza. Yes, yeah. I know. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very difficult. So I know, for example, good people, our education system has a number of challenges, right from primary, secondary education, tertiary education, and university education. You saw President Ruto, the first thing he did was to establish a task force on education reforms, the first item in 2022. I know we are struggling with the recommendations, some of which are working well, others are not working so well. We are trying to fine-tune them, but I want to assure you we are committed to reform our education system so that it becomes more responsive in the times we are living in and create better workforce for Kenya and even to export to other countries because the world now is globalized. So we are trying. We are not saying we are perfect, but we are doing our best. We are doing our best to make sure that we reform, fine-tune, improve, and make sure our education system works better. You know very well, for primary and secondary education, because you are not there, but your brothers and sisters are there. In the past, one of the challenges we are having about equity and access to education is some schools have very good teachers, some private schools, and even some public schools in good places like Nairobi have all the teachers they need, all the books they need, they have a good environment. And that student, that pupil there will do exams with another child in some corner who does not have enough teachers and who does not have good facilities, no books. And you expect both of them to compete. So we are looking at education reforms holistically. The four pillars of a good education system is access, promoting an education system that is accessible to as many children, as many students as possible. Access to education. Number two, affordability. The ability of every Kenyan to afford to get an education. Number three is quality. When they get that piece of paper, it can guarantee them a job or an income opportunity, not just locally, but elsewhere. And then finally, we are working to make sure that our education system is relevant so that we don't teach the things of the 16th century in the 21st century. Right? So those are the parameters that are guiding our education reforms journey. Access, affordability, quality, and relevance. In between those four pillars, there are so many things that we are trying to do, and we are doing. Previously, we used, as a country, to employ secondary and primary school teachers 4,000 to 5,000 per year. When President Ruto assumed office, we established, again through the support of experts and professionals in that field of education, that if we go by that pace, we will never have enough teachers so that every primary and secondary school can have enough teachers. It will not happen. And if some schools don't have enough teachers, that affects quality and relevance of the education system, isn't it? So we used to employ 4,000, 5,000 teachers a year. You are learned people. You can go and find out how many teachers were employed by government in 2023, no, not 2023, 2021, 2020, 2019, all the way. And I put it to you, no other administration has employed as many teachers in primary and secondary school than the administration of William Ruto in 3 years. Why? Because where we were employing 4,000, 5,000 teachers a year, when President Ruto took over this government, we started employing teachers in large scale. In the last 2.7 years, or 2.8 years, we have employed 76,000. In December, we'll employ another 24,000. Remember, in the past, 5,000, 4,000. In 2 years and something, almost 3 years, 76,000. And by December, by the time we are in 3 years, this government will have employed 100,000 teachers for primary school and secondary school. Another statistics, because I'm dealing with knowledgeable people. Another statistics which you can verify is between 1963 and 2022, or 2021, the number of teachers employed in secondary and primary schools were slightly over 300,000. I repeat, between 1963 and 2021, the total number of teachers in the whole country was slightly over 300,000 teachers, primary and secondary school. The William Ruto administration in 3 years will have employed 100,000 teachers, 30% of all the teachers employed since independence up to 2021. So when we are talking about 2 terms, those are the figures. And we are not talking about, I mean, you can know how many teachers have been employed in the last 2 years, 3 years, isn't it? So when we say 2 terms, we are saying 2 terms, and after 2 terms, no teacher who has qualified will be jobless. Every person with a qualification as a teacher will have a job. Isn't it? So we have so many graduates in education. Today they are jobless, they are idle, they can't feed their families. Some have been at home for 10, 12 years. They are almost entering retirement. They don't have a job. So that is a great challenge which is affecting us, and it's also affecting the quality of our education system. So I am told there are some teachers in our midst here. Yeah? So the things I'm saying, I'm not cooking them. For those of you who are not teachers, they can verify for you. Kuna teachers hapa wa GSS na senior school. So good people, there are many things we are doing there. Maybe we don't shout about them every day. In the last 3 years, we have built as a government 23,000 classrooms across Kenya. 7,000 of them through CDF, 23,000 of them through the Ministry of Education. And I want to assure you, we will go out of our way to make sure that every school has good modern classrooms in Kenya. And that journey we are traveling, we are on course, we will reach there. That's how you modernize a country. You don't modernize a country through tribalism and nonsense. You modernize a country by making sure the education system is of high quality and is relevant, and many children have access to it, and other interventions. I don't have time to speak about everything, but those are some of the interventions in the tertiary education. You know, I'll just speak of 3 things in 2 minutes. In the tertiary level, the technical institutes and polytechnics and so forth, we found that there was a problem in Kenya because in 2022, there are 297,000 students in the technical training institutes, in the tertiary institutions, 297,000. But the university students were about 1 million. In many countries, the number of students in the tertiary middle level colleges are supposed to be more than those in the university. The same way in the university, the undergraduates are more than the master's students, and the master's students are more than the PhDs. That's how you create a good, well-structured educational system. So we found out there are many people who stop school, but they don't go to university, they don't go to technical institutes. In the last 3 years, we have pushed the enrollment in the technical training institutes from 297,000 in August 2022 to today, 700,000 students. Our aim is by next year, by close of 2026, we take that figure to 2 million students. How are we doing it? You know, as I said again, it is not abracadabra. It is not the abracadabra people are shouting there, I don't know, one term, I don't know, Kasongo. But you know that's not a policy. Yeah, if you don't like a president, you wait for the election, campaign against that president. If you persuade Kenyans, you lead us. If you don't persuade them, you wait. Yeah. So how are we making sure we get to 2 million? We have introduced in the TVETs, I think in the last few months, I think we passed it in the cabinet last few months, something or a program known as the dual training policy. You spend some time studying theory, but you cannot graduate until you have some practical attachment in a practical project related to the course you're studying, so that when you come out, you are of better quality, isn't it? You cannot be an electrical engineer who has just been taught, you have a certificate in electrical engineering, but you have just been taught about electrical science in theory. You must go and get attached to Kenya Power or some project for last mile connectivity so that you do some practical thing while you are still in school before you graduate. Then we have introduced something called recognition of prior learning. Because again, that TVET skills, that TVET space mainly is for skills. It's not theoretical knowledge. It's not like other disciplines like law and humanities and so forth. It's practical skills. So we have introduced a program called Recognition of Prior Learning. There are many young people who do not have a formal certificate, but they have the skill. They are carpenters. They can do a table. They can do a chair. Isn't it? There are many of them who are mechanics, but they have never gone to the TVET. They have never gone to Polytechnic. They can repair a car. They can repair a telephone. God has given them some skills, some knowledge. Okay? And so many other areas where you have people, plumbers and other areas. So we have said, if you have some skill, but you don't have a formal certification, we take you to the TVET, but we will not keep you there for 3 years, like the other person who has come from secondary school. We test in very few weeks. We just bring the quality people who test these skills, NITA, the National Industrial Training Agency, and others, so that in a short period, let's say of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, if it is proved you have the skills worth a certificate, we certify you formally, and you go back and continue doing your business. And that increases your employability. If you want to be employed, you have something. Like now, many Gulf countries are asking for plumbers, electricians. But if you are there, an electrician with prior learning, which is not certified, you can't get that job because you don't have a certificate. So those are there are many, but those are some of the interventions we are making at tertiary level. The funding model to make sure that all students are funded properly. But in the higher education space, the university education space, the key discussion is about affordability and the funding model. I know that's where the issue is. Because in the past, and this is what many of the critics of this administration are not telling Kenyans. In the past, it didn't matter your background. If you qualified to go to university to study medicine, engineering, law, architecture, Bachelor of Arts, political science, commerce, name it. It doesn't matter whether you are a child of the carpenter or a child of the deputy president. You will get equal funding, isn't it? Yes. It didn't matter so long as you qualify. In fact, many of the students who were competing for bursaries with students from poor backgrounds in the university, they were not even in public primary schools and public secondary schools. They were in elite private primary and secondary schools, paying huge amounts of money in primary school, paying very high fees in high school, private, but when they get to the university, they want to compete for bursaries and public funds with people from some corner of Turkana, some corner of Tharaka, some corner of Kilifi, where the poverty levels are very high. And we have said that is not wrong. That is not right. You can't create an inclusive education system like that. What we do, if I can pay as deputy president, I can pay for my child in the university. And I've been paying our fees or his fees anyway in a private school or even not in a private school, maybe in a public school, and I can afford. Why can't I pay the university fees in full so that those who cannot afford can get fully funded? Isn't it? So I know we are still having that conversation there because of the means testing tool is not perfect, and some students have been classified where they don't belong, and so forth and so on. But the whole idea is to make sure that those who can afford can pay, but those who cannot afford, the public should pay. So I know that is a conversation that we are going to perfect, and we are committed to streamline that sector. So good people, when we are talking about two-term, ours is about policy, it's about programs, it's about ideas. And when the time comes, we will say, let the best team win. Let the best team, the team with the better ideas, let them win, isn't it? Yeah, but you cannot poison the country, threaten the rule of law, and make it impossible. And therefore, as you continue helping us to build a better country, to perfect our governance, to make sure we are more accountable to you, to make sure we also restrain excesses by those who are in power, including our security forces, we must do it peacefully and within the Constitution. And any other person preaching violence, preaching destruction, that person is an enemy of Kenya. Isn't it? Comrades, power. Comrades, power. About jobs, we have about 4 or 5 programs for job creation. Again, we know many of you want jobs in the formal setting, and we are working very hard to create as many jobs as possible. I've already given an example with how we have expanded the number of teachers we have educated, we have employed. That's just one example of how we have increased the number of formal jobs available. But we also have another program called Kazi Maju for those who get jobs abroad. As a young person, It doesn't matter where you get a job. That's one of the best things. Today, if I was looking for a job today, at my age, I would be very reluctant if I got a job very far away from Kenya because of my age. But if I got it, if I didn't have a job when I was 25, 30, I would have worked anywhere on the earth. Anywhere. I would, from Fiji to New Zealand, isn't it? Because the good thing with young people, you're flexible. You don't have very many, things. You can go work there after 10, 12, 15 years. You can always come back home, isn't it? So that labor mobility program, I saw some people criticizing it. We are saying, if we cannot create jobs for everybody here, we will create for those where it is possible. But if there are others who are not employed, but they are getting jobs elsewhere, we'll facilitate them to go and take up those jobs. It is better to do a job abroad than to stay here without a job. Isn't it? You're better off with a job abroad than here without a job, being misused by politicians who give you 100 shillings and tell you go and heckle their political opponents. And that is stupidity of the highest order. Those politicians who use young people like that, those are the greatest enemy of our country. So that job mobility program in the last 2 years, we have facilitated 400,000 young people to get jobs abroad through the Kazi Maju program. And what the president has said, and you remember when I came to office as Minister for Interior 3 years ago, we started this program of job mobility. And one of the biggest hindrances of young people accessing or taking up the jobs we were looking for them was the passport. And I was told you cannot get a passport. The printing machines have collapsed. There is corruption stinking into high heavens. You have to bribe everybody. There is no printer. I don't know, there is no what. And you saw the work I did at Nyayo House. Every day, I used to go there at 4 a.m. because those queues at Nyayo House used to start at 4 a.m. Today, 3 days, 7 days max, you have your passport. And we have said, if you get a job abroad and it is urgent, you'll get your passport within 24 hours. Ile kelele mingi ya passport munaisikianga siku hizi? Alafu mtu anauliza huyu DP alifanya nini huko nyuma? Siambiwe kulikuwa na shida ya passport. Siambiwe kulikuwa na shida ya bandits. Siambiwe kulikuwa na shida ya terrorism huko Lamu. Ama namna gani jameni? Ama namna gani? Na wale wengine wakati walikuwa kwa viti walifanya nini? Mimi niko hapa leo nikikwambia what we are doing with the president on various sectors. And I don't have time to talk about health, about roads, about power. There are the people who are talking because all of them have been in office. Sio ati wametoka mbinguni, wamekuwa na kazi hapa Kenya tu. What did they bring around this place? Uliwaona hata area hii? So that passport efficiency, that efficiency of the passport system gives me a lot of pride. When I know today no young people will lack a job abroad because of delays in getting a passport. Gives me a lot of pride. Now the president has directed the Youth Fund to support all young people who get jobs abroad under the Kazi Maju program, but they don't have money to pay for the passport, they don't have money to pay for medical exam, or they don't have money to pay for the air ticket. They should get a soft loan from Youth Fund. They go take the job. They will pay the Youth Fund slowly, pole, as they take up the job. But we have other young people who are not as lucky as you are. They don't have a university degree. They don't have a college diploma. But they have hands that God gave them. Isn't it? That's why we have said again from 1st of August, we return the Kazi Mtaani Climate Works Program that is going to employ over 200,000 young people to get a living every day by using their hands to plant trees, to clean cities, to protect the environment. Then they get their 500 shillings, and at the end of the week, they get their 4,000 or 3,500. They take care of their families. Some people are making mockery. They don't know 3,500 per week to a young person who has no job is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But because somebody there is not thinking, is just thinking about themselves and their children, they don't know there are many families today. If a young people can get 3,500 a week, hao wameomoka. Si kweli? Si ni kweli? So hiyo climate works tumeanza kule Nairobi. They have the young people are wonderful. Nairobi River has started flowing again. And you know, I'm the one who removed the people who are living in the river there. Again, there are people who are being incited to go and build shanties and funny places and live at the riverside. And I remember during the floods of 2023, we lost so many people, including families, when Nairobi River was swollen and people had built manyumba ya makaratasi on the riverside. They were carried away by the floods. Whole families, man, wife, and children. And I remember that time I was Minister of Interior. I went there and said 24 hours. Anybody 30 meters to the river must leave. Watu wengine hapa washenzi wakaanza kusema ho, sijui anafukuza watu wetu kwa mto. Kwani kuna kabila inaishi kwa mto? Is there a tribe that lives at the river? No. See, those are Kenyans. Those are Kenyans. There is no tribe that lives at the river. Those are Kenyans. So what we did, we gave them a small grant for 3 months because those structures were not even their own. They were renting them from some slum landlords. So we gave them 3 months relocation grant, cleared those structures, and then we said all those who were affected by that policy move, the affordable and social housing we are building in Mukuru, in Kibera, they be given the first priority so that they can have a decent home. So in the process of bold and courageous policy, we have been able to reduce the slums in Nairobi. Someone who was living on the riverside in a carton house has now access to a small studio in Mukuru, in Kibera, with electricity, with cooking gas, with internet. Ni 2 term, si 2 term. Ni 2 term, si 2 term. But if we had listened to these naysayers, we would not have done that measure. Simulituona kwa mto pale. Paka zikaita rais hapo, nikamwambia watu rais watoke 24 hours watoke kwa mto. Wasipotoka tutawatoa. But they were very cooperative walitoka. And today I'm a very proud person, a very proud Kenya, when I see some of those families now have started benefiting from the social housing programs so that we reduce slums and transform our country as we move towards modernity. Some of these, our competitors here, who talk about Malaysia, Singapore, I don't know how we were together in 1963 and now they are far. They don't know the policy measures that Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea took in 1963. They are the ones we are taking today. So our problem, we were late. We were late. We are doing it 60 years. What Singapore and Malaysia did in 1963, we are doing it in 2023, 60 years later. But as they say, better late than never. Isn't it? Yes. They don't even know, our competitors don't know, the reason Singapore, one of the reasons Singapore is ranked #1 in the Human Development Index of the World Bank. They don't know the reason. One factor that pushes Singapore to the top of the world in terms of human development is because 99% of the citizens of Singapore live in quality houses. Because a house is an asset. So if you have many citizens with good dwellings, you know, even if they are not the big ones. You know, they have small houses, but decent. The asset, that asset is value to the country, isn't it? And every person, so tunatoa ma slums, you have more people with decent housing, both in urban areas, in rural areas. That is what will push Kenya. And the Human Development Index, Kenya will move upwards. Wait and see. 5-10 years from today, Kenya is going to shoot because of the affordable housing program we are doing here, and some people cannot associate it with the growth and the prosperity of our country. So, no mercy, no more. Fire, see fire. So, so, I don't have time to talk about social health, what we are doing around social health. I am so proud. We had a discriminatory NHIF scheme. NHIF, you could not be a member, you could not have a health cover, health insurance, if you are not employed, or if you don't have a business that gives you monthly income. They could not allow. SHA, we are saying, let everybody register. Yes. Those with money, those without money. We will try and see. Those with a lot of money, we will subtract a lot of money from them, starting with me. I am deducted nearly 100,000 shillings every month from my payslip. Yet I have another insurance from the state. And I proudly contribute that amount. Comrades, power. I proudly contribute that amount. Do you know why? Because this money I'm being deducted is painful. 100,000, okay? It's painful. But the money deducted by those who are able to pay, those even who have other insurances, including members of parliament. Members of parliament are being deducted 27,000 per MP from their pay slip. But they even have another insurance provided by parliament. So they don't even use SHA. The money collected from me, who has a little more disposable income than a mama mboga, than a mkokoteni person, is the money that will be used to fund those who cannot pay. That's how you modernize the country. That's how, when you have many more people accessing health care, they have some form of insurance. That is how you create a more inclusive, more prosperous country. When we came into office in 2022, August, only 8 million Kenyans had a health insurance. 8 million. Today, 25 million Kenyans have a health insurance. And I am persuaded, in another 2 years or less, we will move this number from the current 25 million to 40 million, and in another extra 1 year ahead, we will push this number from where it is now, 25 million to 55 million. Every Kenyan should have a medical card. Sio Wakenya wengine hawana insurance ya afya. Hawezi tibiwa, akiwa mgonjwa, kama hana pesa, atakufa ama aende kutafuta wachawi na waganga. Isn't it? What kind of a country is that? So we are saying everybody should have a medical card. We are promoting access to education. We are expanding job opportunities. Let the other team of our competitors also come and tell us, if William Ruto has brought SHA, we will remove it, and then we'll leave Kenyans without medical insurance. They can go and die. Watuambia kama hiyo ndio policy yao. Look at electrification. Right now, in 2022, we found 8.9 households, homes, which had electric power. And I must commend President Uhuru, because between 2013 and 2022, Kenya really pushed its electricity connectivity. In 2013, and I was still part of government, I was the Senate Majority Leader. So you know that. Yes. And William Ruto was the Deputy President. Yes. So tulisaidiana na Rais Uhuru, ile stima tulikuta 2013, only 2,700,000 homes had power in Kenya. 2.7 million. We pushed it to 8.9 million in 10 years. We found it at 8.9. Now today it is 10.5 million homes. The number of homes in Kenya is 15 million. 0.5. So we are left with 4 million households to achieve universal electricity connectivity for all homes in Kenya. And therefore it is possible in the next 3 years or so, every home in Kenya, even if it's a mud house or a grass house or whatever, must have power. Then we talk about the house after that. That's how you create a modern country. If you have every home with power, every citizen with a medical insurance fund, a good education system, and so forth, that's how you create a modern country. So, wacha niachie hapo. Unajua mimi zamani nilikuwa professor, so nilikuwa nimezoea hii maneno ya namna hii. But I'm very happy to reconnect with you guys. I have really enjoyed myself, and I want to request you allow, because today I just wanted to have this contact, we will have a more structured meeting which is more engaging, like a town hall. We can get a town hall setting because you are intellectuals. You also have good ideas. You have a lot of suggestions. Every brain here has something they can say about what we can do to give Kenya a new lease of life, isn't it? So we will have another town hall kind of setting with a little more time. But I just wanted to assure you that this government, where I serve as deputy president, is not an enemy of young people. We believe that the youth are the future of the nation and the future of the community. We believe the best we can do is to expand our job opportunities, income generating opportunities. And we have all manner of things. I never even had time to talk about the digital jobs we are creating through ICT hubs, and also the affordable housing itself has created 300,000 jobs, because in every housing project, forget about the house now, there are jobs. There is a plumber, there is a mason, there is an electrician, there is an engineer, a structural engineer, there is a quantity surveyor, there is an architect, there hata kuna watu ya mkono. Isn't it? Na wamama wanauza uji hapo na nini. Si sasa umeona hata hapa nimeona pale Mwanjate tumeanza affordable housing pale ya TTI ya Chuka. Si tumeanza ingine pale Chuka Town. Si hapa Karungaro tumeanza ingine. Yeah. Na wale vijana wengi watakuwa wanafanya kazi ni vijana wa hii area. Hata stima, actually, we are trying to also make sure that all the constituencies move at the same speed, because some constituencies are ahead of others. That's why you saw we adjusted a little bit money for electricity, because some constituencies in Kenya are as high as 98% connectivity, like Gatundu and others. Others are in the middle. I think in Chuka here in Mara, they are in their 60 something. I think Tharaka is the one with the least at 36%. So we have, initially we had released around 200 million, but we have increased that money now. Tharaka constituency alone will get 1 billion for electricity. Because we want in the next 1 year, we want it to be in that range with the other constituencies, around 70, 75, as we push every constituency to 100% connectivity. Tuendelee tusiendelee? Tuendelee namna hiyo? Mimi nawashukuru vile mmesikiza na vile hata maji. Hata maji niko hapo kwa maji. Niko hapo kwa maji pia. So hata barabara. Hata ile barabara kidogo tulikuwa tumejenga imeanza kuraruka. Siturudie hii Chakarika Marimanti Katonga tena. We are okay. Tutakuwa sawa. Watu wasikuwa tishe hapa na we are okay. Just give her time. Yeah. Yeah, give us time, we are working. Yeah, and we know what to do. Iko mambo ya dams, iko mambo ya Nithi Bridge. Yes, yes, yeah. Sisi tuko na kazi very serious, my friend. People not even, hawatajua, ngoja tu, miaka kidogo, you'll see a lot of changes here. Because hii Nithi Bridge, sio ati imeanza kuua watu jana. Si Nithi Bridge ilikuwa inaua watu wakati wa Kibaki? Si watu walikuwa nakufa wakati wa Uhuru? Si ilianza huko zamani? Sasa hii miaka miwili mitatu ya William Ruto, mbona hamkuandamania Uhuru Kenyatta kwa kutojenga hiyo daraja for 10 years? So, I know we committed to build it. I know we had said 6 months. We found it was not realizable. But I am happy today, this week, hii wiki cabinet ilikuwa Tuesday, the first 1 billion shillings ya Nithi Bridge imepatikana. Na mimi mwenyewe, before the end of the year, mimi ndio nitakuja na contractor hapo. Yes. Mimi ndio nitaleta hapo. Yes. Mimi nitakuja hapo, hiyo bridge, mimi nitakuja kusimama hapo niulize wapi wale walikuwa wanaongea. Tuendelee tusiendelee? Tuendelee tusiendelee? Comrades power. Comrades power. Noma si noma. Fire si fire. Naomba tusimame alafu hamjaketi? Mlikuwa mmesimama hiyo miaka yote, hiyo masaa yote? Nyinyi ni noma si noma? Nyinyi ni fire si fire? Muko serious hivi? Ni kina nani walikuwa wanasema ati serikali haina umaarufu hapa? William Ruto wako sawa? William Ruto wako sawa? William Ruto wako sawa? William Ruto wako sawa? Ni 2 term. Ni 2 term ya William Ruto. Ni 2 term ya William Ruto. Wacha nione kwa mkono wala wanasema ni 2 term. Jameni. Ala? Sasa kama William Ruto anapata 2 term, na mimi je? Hata mimi niko hapo. Hapo kwa 2 term. Tuko hapo. Ya ukweli. Wacha nione wala anasema tuko 2 term jamani. Hebu nione wala anasema. Wacha sasa kidogo tu tumemaliza. Wapi nataka Eric akuje hapa 1 minute, huyu Eric Mwenda ule kutoka Chuka. Wapi makofi ya Eric jameni? Wewe ndiye president hapa ya mambo ya vijana. Sema kitu, mpatie mic aseme kitu. Dakika 1 2 alafu niite 1 more person. But I promise you a town hall meeting. Hata mkitaka tuingie hapo Karungaru ama Tharaka University ama turudi hapa ama tuende Karen, wherever you are. Namna hiyo. Karen. Unataka Karen? Nini watu ya Karen? Unataka town hall ya Karen? Wacha nione wala anasema Karen.
Asante sana. Wapi kelele Deputy President? Wapi kelele the 6th President? Communist ria. Orembo hai. Orembo mwa. Vijana ria. Vijana tibi. Thank you Excellency. Kwa majina ni Youth President Tharaka Nithi County. Nawakilisha pia vijana wa Tharaka Nithi County pale Ministry of Youth Affairs. Vijana ria. Vijana tibi. Orembo mwa. Asante Your Excellency kwa kutualika mahali hapa. Na sisi tuko nyuma yako na tunasema tu ya pili. Nisema Your Excellency, mnaona hii kofia inaitwa nyota. Mimi basi nda Tharaka Nithi County Na tulipokuwa pale Western Hotel, Tharaka Nithi County, you are number 6 out of the 47 counties. Hiyo ni noma ama si noma? Sisi ni fire ama si fire?
Fire.
Mtoto wa Simba ni nani? Mtoto wa Simba ni nani?
Simba.
Siu ni Simba. Mtoto wake ni nani? Si mimi. Mtoto wa Simba ni
Simba.
Ya mwisho.
Yes.
Ya mwisho, Your Excellency, tuko na charity day pale Kadwana Prisons on 16th of August. Na chief guest ni nani? Simba ama si Simba? Simba ama si Simba? Nikimalizia.
Muko na nini?
Charity day. Charity day.
Charity.
Ya youth charity day Tharaka Nithi County.
So mumeamua lazima nikuje
Chief
hapa.
guest. Simba ni Simba. Chief guest akuwe Simba ama si Simba?
Simba. Umeamua mimi ndiye chief guest? Ama ni maneno ya huyu mtu?